let's get straight into the action. Let's start seeing what's on the Am I the Asshole Reddit page, and from there, we'll figure out what we're gonna react to. Am I the a-hole for refusing to host any more family get-togethers at our house because I hate hosting my in-laws and their poor manners? Let's see. Am I the a-hole for refusing to host any more family get-togethers at our house because I hate hosting my in-laws and their poor manners? My husband and I finally bought our first house. 5-bedroom, 3 bathrooms, a year ago. Over the holidays, we thought we'd take on the role of hosting a few get-togethers. Fair. From my perspective, it was hell. I hated every second of it. I never really hosted anything or entertained, or whatever you want to call it. Maybe it's just that I'm not used to the requirements. But growing up, my mom or dad would host family, and they were nothing like this. My in-laws did things like let kids run around screaming, yelling, up and down stairs, touching things that didn't belong to them, making messes and not making them clean up after themselves. Parents didn't bring anything for the kids to do and got pissy with us for not having anything for them. Brought a dog into our house, let the dog on the furniture, left chairs sticking out of the tables, counters instead of pushing them in, stomped around the house with their shoes on despite being asked to remove them, left trash paper, this is some horrible behavior, left trash paper, plates, etc. sitting around or balled up instead of placing it in the trash, opened multiple bottles, cans of drinks, and only took a sip and left it open. I want to know how old are these kids. Pulled out and used new rolls of toilet paper when there was still plenty left on the rolls. Open medicine cabinets, that's actually dangerous. Only one person asked if we needed help at any point, and it was my husband's brother's new girlfriend, who we are all meeting for the first time. She offered to help us clean up, bring out food, etc. This was a terrible experience. My husband was shocked at his family's behavior and didn't know what to say. I don't blame him for this at all. He was just a part of the hosting as me, but he was seeing his family through new eyes as well. When he talked to his mom and dad after, they just laughed at us and said, that's what hosting is. No, it's fucking not. So we decided together we would rather not go through all that again. Understandable. Easter is coming up and my in-laws asked what our plans are. My husband said that we aren't going to host after everyone's awful manners. His mom and dad are upset with us. We have the big house, so they figured it would be on us from now on. We said that the only way we would ever consider hosting is if every member of his family pitched in some way. They said that defeats the purpose of someone else hosting, and that no one should be expected to pitch in if we offer to host. So we said we won't host. Maybe I'm just not meant to host, but are we truly so far out of bounds to refuse to host anymore because of how his family behave? Absolutely not. This behavior is horrible. So first of all, just because you're hosting something, it does not mean that the guests that you're hosting have the right to demolish your house or disrespect your house in any way, shape, or size. Period. Allowing kids to run away without correcting them is a lack of discipline. And when discipline is lacking, well, respect is lacking. So they not only disrespected you in your own house, they disrespected your house, your furniture. They allowed dogs to just sit on the furniture without asking anything said in here. No, you're not the a-hole at all. If anything, I would genuinely be concerned about how disciplined those kids are gonna be, and the dog is this is horrible. This is actually horrible. So no, solid, not the a-hole. Let's see what else we have. A cat. Okay. Interesting. Am I the a-hole for telling my sister to accept her daughter is white. Excuse me 1 second, I want to lower the music. Alright. Am I the a-hole for telling my sister to accept her daughter is white? What? Both me, 33 female, and so both my sister and I, but okay, and my sister, 27 female, are Caucasian Latinas. Okay. However, she's always been more tan than me. A fact she's always been very proud of. For reference, my skin tone is close to Aubrey Plaza's. Who the fuck is Aubrey Plaza? While hers is closer to Gina Rodriguez. Again, who the fuck is she? When we were younger, she would constantly talk about how European I looked compared to her. How my hair looked more blonde than brown, which no one ever agreed with, and how certain colors I liked looked awful on me due to my skin tone. I almost never said anything because I was 6 years older and had better things to do. Also, while I did have many insecurities, I never doubted I was beautiful. Fast forward to now, we both have kids. My husband is a little more tan than me, and both our children, 8 male and 3 female, have the same skin tone as their father. My sister's ex and baby daddy, however, was a very pale Swiss guy. My niece, 5 female, is a fair-skinned girl with dark blonde hair, while my daughter is more tan and has dark brown hair. Everyone agrees that both girls are beautiful, but their skin tones have always bugged my sister. She insists that both girls are equally tan, that her daughter's hair is light brown, and that my daughter spends too much time in the sun. What is wrong with your sister? Last weekend, we all had dinner at my father's place. My son brought his notebook and drew pictures of everyone at the table. He colored my daughter's skin a darker shade than my niece. Edit. Orange for my daughter, light pink for my niece. He also gave my niece yellow hair and colored my daughter's hair black. He lost his brown pencil. When we showed us the drawings, my sister frowned. She said he was exaggerating his cousin's features and that he could, at least, make her hair darker. When my niece said she loved the drawing, my sister told her it looked nothing like her and insisted my son was doing this on purpose. Before the kids could get upset, I pulled my sister aside and told her she was being ridiculous. We had a very small fight in the next room. Near its end, I said something along the lines of, "Listen to me. Your daughter is white. We're all white. You need to accept that and stop comparing the girls if you don't want," niece's name, "to become insecure." We left shortly afterwards, and none of the kids have brought anything up again. My sister is pissed at me. She told both our divorced parents about our fight. Our father thinks I shouldn't have commented on my niece's appearance and wants me to apologize to my sister. Our mom thinks this is dumb. I agree too. But says my sister is overreacting. Am I the a-hole? Well, okay, so first of all, no, you're not the a-hole, but I don't understand what's happening with your sister. How come? So there's something psychological behind this, right? Like most things in life. My guess is she wants to fit in with a certain group. My guess in her head, because she is Latina, she just doesn't want to be labeled as white. I mean, I'm all for pride, but what does that have to do with anything? You can't be Latina and be white. So I don't understand why, because she's doing the same exact thing to her daughter. This is a tough one because it has nothing to do with the am I the a-hole here. It's more like trying to understand what your sister is trying to say, because the reasoning behind it is the true issue here. And fortunately, we don't have enough information on the background or how her sister behaves or how her sister just sees life from her own perspective. But it just seems that she doesn't want to be called white, or she doesn't want her daughter to be called white. So, no, verdict is you're not an a-hole. Your sister has issues that she really needs to deal with. All right, next one. Am I the a-hole for making my future in-laws uncomfortable by talking more openly about my adoption and my parents? All right, let's read. Am I the a-hole for making my future in-laws uncomfortable by talking more openly about my adoption and my parents? So I, 25 male, am engaged to my fiance Erin, also 25 female. Since we started actively planning our wedding, Erin's family, but mostly her parents, have developed an obsession with stating how tragic, sad, unfortunate, etc. it is that I won't have my real family there, and that there'll be no blood relatives of mine present for the wedding or our life together. Erin has told them my real family are my dad's and my siblings, but they wave that off like it's bullshit. Erin has told them the topic is to be closed, and we have left on a couple of occasions because they brought it up since, but this last time I decided to be open. So I'm guessing there's a hint of homophobia here, or I might be mistaken, I'm not sure, but it was a dinner where Erin's immediate family were present and some family friends. Erin's parents brought it up again how tragic it is, and so I decided to divulge my feelings and my experience with adoption and my parents. Background: I was removed from my biological parents at the age of 5 and placed in foster care. I had a very unstable 2 years before I met my dad and my pa. I was oh, that's kind of cute. Calls one of them he calls dad and the other pa. That's nice. I was 7 when I moved in with them, 9 when I became eligible for adoption, and that same year I welcomed the first of my 2 siblings. I was so lucky to find my parents and to end up with the family I have. I remember clearly some of the bad with my biological family, and I don't miss that. So I told my future in-laws that I didn't find it tragic at all. That people who can make a 5-year-old feel so unloved that they never see a future where someone could care for them. That you can be surrounded by those who share your DNA and never experience kindness or love. I told them I could not imagine having any of those people in my life today, and I could not imagine thinking DNA means more than love. I told them I was miserable being with those people, and I wished every day for someone to love me. And I didn't know love until I was 7 and I met my parents, and more specifically, my dad, who embodies love and is hands down the most loving, caring, compassionate, and thoughtful person I have ever met. This is adorable. He is my shining example of someone who loves and has such a deep capacity to love. I told them my real parents are the dad and pa who took in a kid who was so depressed and scared and dragged down that he didn't eat like a normal person, was afraid to sleep, and would often cry when sleep did overtake him. I told them that my real parents are the people who walked me to school every morning, who sat and helped me catch up with school and homework, because I was so far behind that I should have never been back in kindergarten. Kindergarten. I told them my real family are the parents and siblings who know I do not share their DNA, but love me anyway, and have been there for me through every single step of my life since I was 7, and who made me a forever part of their family through adoption. My future in-laws were silent after that, but they told me I humiliated them and made them uncomfortable in their own home, and I shouldn't have spoken like that. Erin told them they should learn when to quit and apologize to me. Am I the a-hole? Alright, so first things first. No, you're not the a-hole. Solid, you're not the a-hole. Second, your in-laws are absolute nonsense. Like, honestly, what the fuck? So, this is actually amazing. First of all, we can definitely see some homophobia happening in here. Like, I have no doubt about it. Definite homophobia in here. Um, like I'm taken aback. Like this is such a sweet thing to read. I hear many stories of adopted kids that end up being very ungrateful towards their parents. Stories like once they hit 18, they would rather go and find their biological parents, or even prior to that, they've been planning to do that. Or stories about how they do not feel at home, just and they just blame that on the fact that it's, not their biological parents. And yet here we get to read a beautiful story about a very, very grateful kid who, well, he's 25 now, but yeah, still, you know what I mean. A very grateful young man who loves genuinely his father and his pa. I love the way he calls them father and pa, dad and pa. And not only is he very appreciative, but he manages to genuinely see the love that is being given. So I can only respect and take my hat off to the dad and obviously the pa. It is such a beautiful thing when you can manage to instill this kind of love into your children, when you can manage to make them feel this love to the point where they genuinely see the love that you're giving to them, rather than it just, you know, such a beautiful story. I would keep Erin, the girlfriend, the fiance, I would keep her so close, so close. She sounds like somebody that is going to stand right next to you on whatever hill you're on, and fight your fight with you, which is beautiful. I'm just sorry that the in-laws are this way. That was a beautiful story. All right, on to the next one. Okay, this title seems interesting, but we'll see. Am I the a-hole for telling a disabled person to not enter my property? Disabled woman in electronic wheelchair moved into neighborhood. Whoever wrote this is just very straight to the point. All right. We don't have fences and a driveway to our garage. It happened 4 days in a row now that the motion detection of the camera sent an alarm. We were nearby and went home. The woman had entered our property and let her little dogs run at our neighbor's yard. Sorry. Neighbor has a fence facing the street, but not to our side. Every time we drove home, she immediately turned on the turbo at her wheelchair and fled. Okay. Every time we drove home, she immediately turned on the turbo at her wheelchair and fled. I want to tell her this is private property and she should stay off my ground. Half of my family says I can't do that because of her condition. What should I do? Okay, so I don't know where this is, right? And all I know is America is really big on the stay off my property kind of thing, like, which is fine. This is fair. Bro, if you got a problem with Hot Wheels over there, you just gotta tell her. I don't know what to tell you other than that, man. Just no, you're not an a-hole, but just say it in a kind way, I guess. Every time we drove home, she immediately turned on the turbo at her wheelchair and fled. This sentence is amazing. I love it. No, not the a-hole. Just be kind when you try to say it, so you don't hurt her feelings. That's all. Am I the a-hole for uninviting my mom to my wedding after she called my fiance embarrassing? All right, let's read this one. Okay, let's see. Am I the a-hole for uninviting my mom to my wedding after she called my fiance embarrassing? I am engaged to Tiffany and I love her with all of my heart. Unfortunately, my mom has never seemed supportive of our relationship, and it's pretty clear to me she doesn't enjoy Tiffany. This has been a huge point of contention between my mother and I've made it clear that she needs to begin making an effort if she wants to be in our lives. She continues to try to get away with excluding her, so I've had to come down hard with boundaries. Recently, my mom was going to a touring production of a Broadway show that Tiffany has been dying to see, but was unable to get tickets to. My mom was going with her sister, who woke up with a fever and chills, so she was going to invite her secretary as her friends happened to be out of town. I told my mom that it was ridiculous that Tiffany wasn't even her fourth choice. I explained this was deeply hurtful and asked her to consider her future daughter in law over her assistant. She ended up letting Tiffany go, but when it was time to go, I saw my mom's face change. Tiffany is a huge girly girl and just loves to dress up with dress up, which unfortunately she does. I can't English apparently, which unfortunately she doesn't get many chances to do at the moment. She went all out for the show in a floor-length sparkly number with her hair done up and beautiful makeup. My mom was wearing flare leggings, a sweater, and Converse, and didn't even try to hide her disgust. She asked if Tiffany was aware that no one dressed up for the Performing Arts Center. Tiffany admitted she might have gone a little overboard, but explained she just loves to dress up. My mom complained that she was going to feel embarrassed. I told her to stop, and they went on their way. Well, it has recently come to my attention. I might need some water here. Well, it has recently come to my attention that my mom texted my aunt, including pictures of Tiffany taken without. It has recently come to my attention that my mom texted my aunt, including pictures of Tiffany taken without her knowledge, and complained about how embarrassed she was. She said everyone was looking at them and some people were snickering. My aunt was making jokes back, and I became furious. I demanded my mom explain to me, and she said I was being ridiculous. She said she could talk to her sister about whatever she wanted and we needed to grow up. She blamed me for pushing Tiffany on her in the first place and claimed it was super embarrassing and everyone was giving Tiffany weird looks. I lost it and told her she was uninvited from the wedding if that is what she really thinks. She got really quiet and said, okay, if that was what I really wanted, and said I was unwilling to compromise or make things work. Now, the rest of the family is calling me an a-hole and saying I will regret not having my mom at my wedding, but Tiffany feels very happy and supported. Well, I'm a very firm believer that when it is your wedding, that day is very much about, well, as a man, it is like more 20% about you and 80% about your wife, but it's about you two. All right. And this situation here does not allow you to calmly assess what's happening. It is very hard when your mother is not impressed by your fiance, even though you know how much you love her. And it is a very big struggle. An example would be my fiance, my wife, and I. Right? My mom loves Hannah, my wife. But if I were to deal with a situation like this, I would have a bit of a conflict of interest because I love my mother and I love my wife. I appreciate my mother, I respect my mother, but I also appreciate and respect my wife. So I would be put in a sorry, I really do need some water. I would be put in a very weird situation where I'd have to try to mediate between the two. First of all, do not underestimate your mother's point of view on your fiance. Women know women, and the mother usually tends to know if something's happening, if something's wrong with your fiance, which is why you want to listen to her. But at the same time, it can be taken a bit overboard, and this is usually when there's some form of trauma. All right. Usually it's about boundaries, which you did set, which is amazing. It's the first step, usually setting boundaries and understanding and seeing how your mother reacts to these kind of things. Because yes, your mother might have an opinion on it, but you also need to form your own opinion on it. All right? This is also the same thing that happens when your father is not okay. You know, if you're a girl and your father says no to your boyfriend, there is a reason. Men know men, women know women. So it is always good to take into account the perspective of your parents if they're good parents. Obviously, we're not talking about the exception. In this case, obviously, for it's safe to say that your mother is in the wrong here. All right. So texting back and forth with your aunt, mocking your fiance this way is not only very childish behavior, but it is not a valid behavior for a mother. All right. As a mother, you're supposed to be protecting your son. You're supposed to be teaching him something that a father could not teach him. Right? Fathers are usually good disciplinarians, mothers are good nurturers. Usually, this is more or less how it is. We're not talking about exceptions. But when the father tries to discipline your son, you should allow him to do it. There's a reason you married the man, there's a reason you fell in love with the man, you appreciate him, allow him to instill that into your son. As a mother, you're the one that nurtures him. You kind of take care of his emotional side, understanding how it works between socializing and like the right amount of how can I say this? The right amount of, I'm not getting the right word right now. If it comes to me, I'll say it, but social adequacy, the right social adequacy, I would say. It's your job to do that. You're the one that's going to nurture him. You're the one that's going to teach him how to socialize in a better manner, especially with the fairer sex. So if you're sitting there and you're sending back and forth messages to your sister, shit talking your daughter-in-law, what are you doing? Just honestly, what are you doing? Why aren't you sitting down with your son, explaining your point of view if you genuinely have a good point of view? And if you don't, why are you picking on the girl? Is it because she's different? Is it because she reminds you of she triggers a trauma? What is happening? Now, I can't really address the person, obviously, but in case you're hearing this and you have a similar issue, my first recommendation would be to really try to sit down with your mother. I'm talking in case you're the man in this situation. Sit down with your mother, speak to her, try to understand what's happening truly, and see whether there is something that she is aware of that you're not, or if it's something that goes beyond that, if it's caused by a psychological issue that you may not be able to fix. In that case, you just let it go. All right, you don't talk to your mother about it, you just ignore her. And if she keeps being an a-hole to your fiance, well then I'm sorry, but you have to defend your fiance in this case. All right, you just need to see who truly is doing, let's call it this way, who's truly doing their job in this situation. Is your mother being a correct mother? Is your fiance being a correct fiance? Is she being a loving and faithful and caring fiance to you, and your mother in this case is being an a-hole? Protect your fiance. Does your mother know something that your fiance might have done or might have said? Maybe your mother saw something or analyzed something about that girl, and you might find something different about your fiance. If you find that thing out, you might want to listen to your mom in that case, right? So it just depends on the situation. In this case scenario, I would say your mom is an a-hole, and you're better off defending your fiance 100%. You're not an a-hole for uninviting your mother. You defend your woman in this case. Defend her, for sure. On to the next one. Am I the a-hole for telling my many half siblings that I'm not signing up to be responsible for everyone? Okay, let's read this one. Am I the a-hole for telling my many half-siblings that I am not signing up to be responsible for everyone? The title might lead to some confusion, so I'll try to make this clear. I, 25 male, am the oldest of my dad, aka sperm donor's many children that he's had throughout the last 25 years. Okay. As of right now, I am the oldest and have been known as the oldest for the last 25 years. My mom was married to him when she found out he was cheating. She kicked him to the curb, good on her, during her pregnancy with me. And right after I was born, it was announced he was expecting baby number 2 with his affair partner, and one of my half-siblings was born a little while before my first birthday. I did not grow up having a relation... What? Hold up. Excuse me, I need to backtrack a second. I, 25 male, am the oldest of my dad. Okay. She kicked him to the curb during her pregnancy with me, and right after I was born, it was announced he was expecting baby number 2, and one of my half-siblings was born a little while before my first birthday. Oh, okay, yeah, no, I'm sorry, my mind just didn't understand the math there. All right, so yeah, he's basically almost a year older. I did not grow up having a relationship with any of these children because my mom expected more than photo ops from my dad. She expected him to be a parent and help pay for what I needed, as she should, but he didn't want that. None of the other mothers of his kids chased him, so I was cut off by him, and he floated around, never really working and being in and out of the lives of his other children. I am hating this shit excuse of a man. I did meet some of my halves when I was a teenager, and I wasn't really interested in forming a relationship like they were. It was weird because the ones who reached out were not much younger than me, but expected me to take over as sort of the head of the family and the male role model. I'm not gonna lie, I kind of liked... Sorry, my Italian side was coming out here for a second. When I turned 20, a bunch more of them became known to me. A bunch more of them, holy shit. 12 new, which made for 15 known at that point. A lot of them were kids, so I didn't want to be a jerk and reject them harshly. So I spoke to their mothers and told them I was not going to be this amazing big brother their kids wanted. A couple of years ago, I was like, you know what? Oh, I was like, you know what? Fine. And I joined the group chat with the siblings over the age of 13. I'm not very active, but I figured it would be good to at least know about these people, so nothing ever happens there. It was that worrying for me that when I met my fiance, we actually did talk to her parents and get a DNA test done because I have so many half out in the world that it's scary. I want to think that for some reason, I don't think that's a joke, but I'm going to take it as a joke because that's fair, my guy. Last week, there was a situation with my halves that became a little explosive. They were asking why I hadn't talked about my wedding with them. The half closest in age to me found out through social media, and it became a big deal that they were not going to be invited, and then it turned into, you're the oldest, you should be stepping up and acting as the head of the family and making sure you are there for all halves we have or find in the future. Well, I told them that was not happening, and I'm not signing up to be responsible for everyone. They said I act like us having each other isn't a good thing. I told them I would never have chosen this, to have halves coming up that would be over 20 years younger than me, halves maybe even older than me for all we know, and never knowing if the people I meet could be my half siblings. I mean, don't exaggerate, my guy, but okay. I told them I am not our sperm donor and I will not take responsibility for this. They called me an a-hole and said I should embrace this huge family. Am I the a-hole? All right. This is okay. Jokes aside, all right. So first of all, this is actually a very heavy situation. I kind of want to see a picture of this quote unquote sperm donor because I'm starting to think that he might be a Chad of some sort. But at the same time, Man, I hate people like that. Like, honest, heart to heart. I hate people like that. Like, why is it so hard for you to just be a normal human and be a normal man and not be a dick? Like, you're not even taking care of these kids. You're just going around getting women pregnant, not taking care of the kids. you you don't deserve happiness, my guy. I'm sorry, but if this is how you behave, you really don't deserve happiness. I would be fine with you. I would be okay with maybe you're gonna tell me you cheated that one time because you madly fell in love with another woman. I would still hate you for that. I would still hate you for that because it takes nothing for you to speak to your partner, tell her you fell out of love prior to going and do that. But we're human. We make mistakes. So I would look at you and be like, okay, you made a mistake. You fell in love with that woman. Now you married her and you had one child with her and you stayed in that family. Okay. I think most people would at least respect the fact that you took responsibility for your actions there, even though you're a cheater. But people would still be okay with you leaving and being with multiple women. It's the part that you impregnate women and then not care for those kids. You really don't deserve happiness if you do these kind of things. You really do not deserve happiness. To this 25-year-old man, I can only say, I'm sorry you have to deal with this kind of situation. No, you're not an a-hole for not wanting to take this massive, massive responsibility on your shoulders. But please do understand that all these other kids, just like you, have the same exact trauma and are begging for a paternal figure. They're begging for guidance. It doesn't fall on you to do it, but I'm asking you, as a man, don't abandon them. I'm not saying become their dad. I'm just saying make sure you stay close. You should embrace the huge family. That's all you have. At the end of the day, family is crucial. And from what you described, they don't sound like bad people, anything. They have your same trauma, and they have this need. Yeah, you cannot fill in the shoes of a father. You're only 25. But don't abandon them. Don't let go of the family. Don't let go of your siblings, because these are your brothers and sisters. This is your family. Ignoring the fact that you all come from a dick. No pun intended. But I'm not going to say man up. I'm not going to say take responsibility for that. No, that's unfair to you. You need to live your life. You need to enjoy your life. But please don't abandon them. All right? Just be a good brother to them. They deserve it as much as you deserve love for what you had to go through. Yeah. So, no, verdict, not the a-hole. On to the next one. Am I the a-hole for calling my brother dumb and telling him not to cry to me when he ends up alone? All right. Am I the a-hole for calling my brother dumb and telling him not to cry to me when he ends up alone? My brother, 40 male, and I, 30 male, are not on the best of terms right now. I feel like he expects me to be a silent shoulder to cry on and to not have any opinion or advice for him. He has also asked questions then, and I'm apparently supposed to agree with him, or I'm a dick. Maybe I am. My brother has been married twice. his has he has a 15-year-old son with his ex-wife, and with his current wife, he has an 8-year-old daughter and a 6-year-old son. My apologies. My older nephew has been through a lot because of his mom. Constant moves, new guys in and out of his life all the time, putting guys before him, leaving him behind when she goes off with others. But he is fiercely loyal to his mom and always was. She didn't like when my brother had more kids, and so my older nephew was always very distant with his half siblings, and he calls himself an only child. He also had a distant relationship with his stepmom. She acted this way because he was distant but not rude or cruel. She did try to improve their relationship though. I'm sorry, I need to reread this. It confused the living bejesus out of me. My brother has been married twice. Okay, he has a 15-year-old with his ex-wife, and with his current wife, he has an 8 and a 6-year-old. Okay, so 3 kids. My older nephew has been through a lot because of his mom. Constant moves, new guys in and out of their life, putting guys before him, leaving him behind when she goes off with others. But he is fiercely loyal to his mom and always was. She didn't like when my brother had more kids, and so my older nephew was always very distant with his half siblings, and he calls himself an only child. Why? Just try to be a relationship though. Okay. But for about a year and a half, my older nephew has been an outright a-hole to his half siblings and stepmom. He goes out of his way to upset them and to say awful things. He has repeated things his mom has called the kids to the kids' faces, and when he even showed them text, he and his mom sent each other about them and their mom. My brother went to court for full custody due to the alienation and was denied, and the courts decided 50-50 should remain, but did order therapy for my older nephew. Therapy didn't help, and his behavior is worse than ever. He does not care who is around either. He has behaved like this in front of my family, in front of mine and my brother's parents, and in front of my neighbors and family friends. He also involved a friend of my niece's and turned that into a bullying situation. He knows the girl through his best friend. They're siblings, I believe. Sister-in-law is no longer willing to tolerate it, and she and my brother fought a lot. She told him either my older nephew goes to live with his mom or they live in separate homes to protect the kids. My brother refused. He wanted to keep things as they are. She said no way and took the kids and left when my brother refused to figure something out. This is where my fight with my brother comes in. He was venting to me and complaining about his ex and his wife and the situation with the kids. He asked me what he was supposed to do and whether I thought he was unreasonable or not. He asked me 3 different times before I told him I did think he was wrong and that he should have worked with his wife because now he is likely to lose them all. His son will choose to live with his mom once he's 16, and his marriage will be gone, and the younger kids will feel like he didn't care about protecting them. He told me to shut up, called me a child, and then told me I had no idea what I was talking about. He defended his stance. This is when I called him dumb and told him not to come crying to me when he ends up alone. Am I the a-hole? So you've got a 15-year-old with traumas. Seems to be very consistent, right? Like in all these "Am I the a-hole" posts, there's always somebody with like a fuck ton of traumas for some reason. But right, so this kid is traumatized. He does not have a proper parental figure because it's obvious your brother is. His mother is horrible. This is why it is crucial to have a 2-parents household, right? Doesn't matter whether it's dad, mom, dad, whatever, as long as the parents are doing the job correctly. So obviously both parents here are not doing their jobs correctly. The sister-in-law is at her wit's end. The 15-year-old is traumatized and really needs therapy and needs a proper parental figure. No, you're not the a-hole. You're 100% right. He is going to end up alone. And I can see where your son gets his stubbornness from. Not your son. Sorry. I can see where your brother's son gets his stubbornness from. Yeah. At the end of the day, you don't want to become liable for something that happens in your brother's family. So it's usually you would want to intervene, you would want to help. But because of the behavior of your brother in this case, it's better off if you just let it go. Okay? He's not going to listen to you. He is going to keep crying. This is how he operates. He is 40 now. He's not 15. He's not a kid. He's a full-on adult. And he's behaving like a child. Leave it, my guy. Leave it. Just, if you can help your brother somehow, go for it. But just stay distant from the situation. The ones you want to focus on as their uncle, you want to focus on helping the kids. Right? So your sister-in-law needs help, obviously. That's somebody you want to take care of because she's innocent. She has to deal with this crap. The kids, the 8 and 6, if I remember correctly. I removed my glasses, so I cannot see right now. So yeah, 8 and 6. Those two need help. And above all, that 15-year-old requires therapy. He needs to stop talking to his mother because his mother is horrible influence on him. I don't even want to say like he needs help. That 15-year-old needs help. He has his shit parents. I'm sorry, but the sister-in-law did well to go away. That your brother is not capable of raising kids. He's barely capable of raising himself, it seems. Yeah. So again, therapy and help for the 15-year-old. Take care of the 8 and 6-year-old. You're their uncle, so be the paternal figure that they deserve. Take care of your sister-in-law. I'm not saying get with her or anything like that. I'm saying check up on her, because what's she gonna do about it? Like, she has to take care of the 2 kids, and she's dealing with this crap by herself at home alone. So be a good man. Take care of her the way you can. Family is family. I'm not gonna say abandon your brother. Obviously, that's not a thing that we do. But keep your distance from the situation, man. Like, it's just not something you can solve. He's 40. It's done and dusted. It's done and dusted. He's gonna be stubborn about it. He's gonna hit that wall and he's gonna start crying. And he either figures out how to deal with it himself, or he's just not gonna, and it's not worth the effort. Direct your energy towards those that really deserve your energy and your time. All right, so 15-year-old, 8-year-old, 6-year-old, sister-in-law. That's where you want to go with this. Again, verdict, not the a-hole. We've had quite a few not the a-holes. I haven't caught an a-hole post yet, or a rage bait one. That's interesting. All right, on to the next one. Okay, I guess we're not gonna read this one. I mean, it's here. I'm guessing he gets shredded into this. That's why they remove it. So, anyways. All right. Am I the a-hole for telling my wife to get over my daughter's short hair? All right. Let's see. Am I the a-hole for telling my wife to get over my daughter's short hair? I, 40 male, and my wife, 42 female, have been married for 5 years. I have a 14-year-old daughter from a previous relationship. Her mother wanted nothing to do with her when she was born. When I met my I promise someday I'll learn how to speak again. When I met my wife, there we go. She was worried about being a bad stepmother to my daughter. They became close and they do a spa day every Mother's Day. That's kind of cute. My daughter has very long hair down to her shoulders. She hates putting it up in ponytails and she complains about the length of time it takes to blow dry. She's a big tomboy and one of her friends recommended she gets a pixie cut. The pixie cuts does not go well on everybody. I'm just stating this, all right? I'm not being a dick about it at all. I'm just saying the pixie cut is a hard hairstyle to rock, all right? Just saying. I booked her an appointment to get the cut she wanted and she was very happy. She's been in such a great mood and loves having the short hair. When I brought her home to see wife, my wife dropped what she was doing and looked like she was about to faint. She asked why I allowed daughter to cut all her hair off. It's like just the name now is daughter and wife. I told her that this is the cut my daughter wanted. My wife got furious and started telling me about how I ruined daughter's image. I shot back at her to get over the haircut as it made daughter happy. That was all I wanted, was my daughter happy. My daughter to be happy. My wife continued to complain about the haircut even around my daughter, and I had to tell her multiple times to drop it. My daughter has been very depressed and it's worrying me. I have been giving my wife the cold shoulder and she's being very cold to both me and daughter. Am I the a-hole for telling my wife to get over my daughter's short hair? No, you're not the a-hole. Your wife needs to grow up. I'm glad your daughter's happy with her new haircut. It's better, you know what, just prioritize the daughter. I mean, if she wants to be happy, she wants to be happy, let her be. But I don't know what the reason is for the wife to not want the pixie haircut. Maybe she thinks it doesn't look well on your daughter, but that wouldn't really matter. I mean, at the end of the day, yeah, as I said at the beginning, pixie haircuts are hard to rock, but I don't give a crap as long as it makes you happy in the end. You know, like, she's your daughter. Like, you're a mother. Why are you caring this much about her image rather than her happiness? Prioritize her happiness. If it makes her happy to have a short haircut, let her be happy with her haircut. Why are you so worried about that? That doesn't make sense. Like, get your hair long, mind your own business. And no, in this specific case, this is not your business. Unless she's genuinely hurting herself, doing something bad for herself. An example would be, right, like if she's dressing in a very provocative manner at that age and going out, yeah, that is your business, because that actually hurts her. Even if it makes her happy, that hurts her, right? But if she has a pixie haircut, how is that hurting her? It doesn't matter at all. You know, it's like telling your daughter not to wear what is it called? I'm wearing one right now, like a sports jumpsuit. I don't remember what it's called. A tracksuit, yeah. So it's like telling your daughter not to wear a tracksuit, but to wear camo instead, or a dress. Like, let her be happy. Let her do what she want to do. Like, I don't get the no, you're not the a-hole, my guy. Just this whole like giving the cold shoulder and all the stuff is kind of childish. Like, sit her down and talk to her clearly. Set the boundary. You know, remind her that she's the mom and she should be happy that her daughter's happy. I don't fucking know why she's behaving that way. I'm sorry, but this is just like no, not the a-hole. Fuck was this one? All right, next one. Oh, it's a would I be the a-hole? Would I be the a-hole for not showing up to a wedding I'm a part of without giving a reason? What? Throw away because the bride knows my account. My 28 female brother, my 28 female brother, okay. My 28 female brother, 31 male, is getting married in a few weeks to my best friend since childhood, 27 female. They've been together for a few years now, and of course, my best friend wants me to be her maid of honor. They've known I genuinely got confused when I read MOH. I was like, hold up, what the fuck would that mean? Yeah, maid of honor makes sense. They've known each other for a long time, since she was always hanging out at my house, but I didn't know they were close until I came home from grad school and found out they'd been dating. I thought they'd have their fun for a minute, then break up, and we'd all laugh about it someday. It's clearly no longer the plan. Because here's my problem. I'm in love with her. Right, so just a quick side note, right? I don't edit my videos. First of all, I don't really know how to edit yet. I need to learn how to edit, but I kind of want to give reactions with you guys. I want to read the things with you guys and just give a live reaction to everything. But this is a perfect moment for the dun 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 kind of sound effect, yeah? So dun dun dun. I've been since before I really knew what being in love was. For me, the sun doesn't. Oh Lord, okay, we need some romance music over here. Hold on. All right. For me, the sun doesn't rise in the morning before I talk to her. She's the light of my life. She doesn't know I feel this way, or if she does, then there's a reason she didn't say anything. I know she's straight. She knows I'm not. And I always expected to stand at her side one day while she got married to a man. I've accepted that. I know she loves me, even if it's not the exact way I love her. I don't know why I have a British accent, by the way, and it's horrible. My wife is British. She's gonna mock the living shit out of me for this one, by the way, but hey, it's worth it. As long as she's in my life, I'm happy. But this isn't just some guy I can politely ignore and forget about. It's my brother. Brother. If you're wondering, yes, he knows how I've always felt about her. We never sat down and spoke about it, but he's not an idiot, and here's when I talk about her. He's always been awkward mentioning the relationship around me, and extra much so when he pulled me aside. I don't know why I paused after end extra over there, but whatever. And extra much so when he pulled me aside. I thought it was something interesting. Extra much so when he pulled me aside a few months back to tell me he was proposing. I was hoping the feeling of betrayal would fade away with time, but if I'm being honest, it hasn't. Still, I know he makes her happy, and she makes him happy too. So I've done my best to power through all their conjugal bliss so far, but the upcoming wedding has just made it worse and worse. It would be bad enough as a guest, but they want me to stand next to them to make a speech about what they both mean to me. To hand them the rings. I promise I know how to speak English. I promise. I also know how to I also know how to read, I think. To hand them the rings. All the while, my best friend has been gushing about how happy she is, how she can't wait to be his wife and have children with him. Every tiny little thing he does for her, and I can't help but feel that I was really just one chromosome away from being in his place. I feel like the little mermaid walking. How old is she? 28. I feel like the little mermaid walking barefoot on glass and unable to say anything about it. I don't think I have the strength to be in that wedding. I'm already miserable. I've always been the fun one, but I just don't have it in me anymore. I can't just stand down now either. She wouldn't understand, and I'd have to explain, which could only lead to a world of hurt. I don't want to ruin this for them. She's still my best friend, and he's still my brother. So, Reddit, would I be the a-hole if I just faked being sick or something on the day of and ditched the wedding? All right. So, first of all, chapeau. Beautiful poetry in this story. I absolutely loved it. All right. So, yes. Okay. I'm gonna be honest with you. All right. Yeah, you would be an a-hole if you just dodged this wedding. The reason why is it's not because you're not allowed to have those emotions. All right, this is a very valid reason to feel hurt. This is a very valid reason to feel sad. But the reason is because she is, you stated it up here. Where is it? Let me see if I can find it real quick. I know she's straight. She knows I'm not. All right. So, reason being is your emotions, which are very valid, should not come above your best friend and your brothers. I understand the pain, but go face that. All right. Whoever wrote this, all right, throwaway, sad maid, whoever wrote this is a very passionate person. All right. Which could also mean that you understand the concept of self-sacrifice. There is no love without self-sacrifice, right? They go hand in hand. There are things that go hand in hand, and because you can love somebody so vehemently, you also understand that self-sacrifice is crucial in this case. And I am sorry that you feel hurt. I understand the pain. Well, no, I don't understand it. I can imagine the pain. But she is the woman you love, and he is your brother. You love them too, right? You love your brother too. You love them both. And this is their wedding. So keep your head straight, shoulders back, and go face this and get it done with. All right? Just face this obstacle because it's not going anywhere. And bless their wedding. Be happy for them. And then lock those emotions into a box and throw them away. Because I'm never gonna tell anybody to try to break up a happy couple. All right? If they're about to get married, I'm never gonna be like, she's not married yet, go for her, tell her how you feel, she might change her opinion. No. Don't ever be the person that breaks up a happy couple. All right? That is just terrible. Do unto others what you want others to do unto you. Live your life by this way. All right? Don't go and hurt other people. Don't play with people's emotions. Mind your own business in this case, all right? And go deal with this painful situation. And right, so I did say that the verdict is yes, you would be an a-hole, but this is because how it's structured. Effectively, I wouldn't call you an a-hole, right, for not wanting to go. I would just say that it would be wrong for you not to go in this case scenario. Just go. All right, go deal with it. Lock your emotions away at the end. Watch them get married so you have your closure too visibly, right? It's important for you. Watch them get married. Get your closure, right? Be happy for them. Give them a nice kiss on the cheek and wish them a happy life. And then close this chapter of your life and go find another woman that can love you so strongly as you're capable of loving somebody. All right? You deserve it. I mean, if you can love somebody this much, if you can write this kind of beautiful, poetry, let's call it that way, right? You can love really strongly. So go find somebody that will love you as strongly as you can love. So yeah, verdict is yes, you would be wrong. You would be wrong. On to the next one. All right, I'll do one more, then I'm gonna go make some coffee, and I'll come back. What the heck? Okay, yeah. All right, so it's, would I be the a-hole if I attended a friend's bachelor party instead of my wife's grandmother's funeral? This is 100% rage bait, and there's a reason this, yeah. Like, no, whoever posted this must have been butchered. Okay, let's see this one. Sorry. All right. Am I the a-hole for not wanting to babysit my niece during my work hours? My sister Anna just started a new job and needs someone to watch her 4-year-old daughter, Katie, on Wednesday. Stop it. Am I the a-hole for not wanting to babysit my niece during my work hours? My sister Anna just started a new job and needs someone to watch her 4-year-old daughter Katie on Wednesdays and Fridays. She asked me to do it, but here's the thing. I work from home as a freelance graphic designer. Sometimes my schedule is flexible enough to handle babysitting, but other weeks I'm swamped and can't be distracted. I offered to help out when I could as long as she gives me notice, which is fair. But other weeks, but Anna got really upset. She said stuff about how family is supposed to be there for each other. I tried explaining my side, but she wouldn't budge. Now she's ignoring me and complaining about the situation to the rest of our family. I feel terrible that I can't help her out more, but I also have to make a living, you know? Am I the a-hole for not dropping everything to babysit? No, you're absolutely not the a-hole. You sound, if this is okay, so usually when I read Am I the a-hole posts, be it on Instagram, Reddit, whatever, I always have a doubt in my head that people write something that they didn't say, because when you read something, you're kind of making the tone in your own head. And according to how things are written, you tend to think like, did this person say it with this kind of tone? Did this person say it with this kind of respect, politesse? Or are they just trying to act nice for the people of Reddit? I'm pretty sure lots of you have this kind of thought pattern. So if you spoke the way you just spoke here and were polite and explained this way, you're absolutely not the a-hole, right? Now, even if you didn't, you wouldn't be the a-hole, because this is a very valid reason. I would personally ask you, right, if I was the person asking you to babysit, because you say you work from home as a freelance graphic designer and sometimes you might be swamped, understandable, I would ask you, is there a way that you could do that work at my house through a laptop? Maybe you could, so clarification, first things first, right? You did say, as long as she gives you notice. So 100%, she should be giving you notice about you babysitting, right? She can't just ask you out of nowhere unless it's a very, very huge emergency. Fair enough, that's fine. But in this case, if it's not an emergency, she should be giving you notice. And then I would ask you, I mean, hey, would you be able to babysit for me this Friday? If you say you're swamped, I would genuinely just ask you, is it possible for you to plan your work to do on a laptop? Because since you're working from home, can you do that at my house while you babysit? Obviously, if you can't, well, I understand. Thank you. You're trying to work. You're not trying to play games. But hey, that happens. And so, no, verdict is not the a-hole at all. And Anna sounds kind of spoiled. So, yeah. Poor Katie. All right. That one was brief, so I'll do another one and then I'll go for coffee. Let's see. Am I the a-hole for choosing my job over my sister-in-law's baby shower and wanting to block her? Okay, this one sounds interesting. Am I the a-hole for choosing my job over my sister-in-law's baby shower and wanting to block her? The title sounds horrible, but let me explain. My 22 female husband, 22 male, and I live over 12 hours by car away from his family. As an Italian, right, like this is something that happens a lot. So in Italy, in 12 hours, you kind of tend to go from one place to the other of Italy. Most of Europe is this way, right? America is huge. So when we see things like 12 hours by car away, we're thinking like, where the fuck do you, yeah. But anyways, by car away from his family. We met online and quickly became a couple. I had planned to move to his state, but due to my schooling, was unable to transfer my degree. Instead, he moved to my home area. This is where all the trouble began. The first time I had ever met his younger sister, we were driving from his aunt's house, who lived an hour north from my hometown, to the closest city to go shopping. She had made me sit in the back seat, refused to really acknowledge me, and lectured her brother on signing a prenup before we ever got married because people from my hometown are just out for money because they're all so poor. Okay. I just kind of pushed it away, thinking maybe it was just a bad first impression and everyone deserves a second chance. Fast forward a year, and my husband proposed, and we started planning our wedding. Planning the wedding. His sister announced about 7 months before the wedding that she was pregnant, and her due date was a week after our wedding. Tension between her and I got worse when their father all but demanded to live stream our wedding on his Facebook so she could see. I don't like the idea of live streaming any major life event as it makes me uncomfortable. As a streamer, I take offense to this comment, but okay. Upon discussing it with my husband, we decided to not do that, but hire a photographer and share any and all pictures with her in a Google Drive. Of course, this wasn't what she wanted and she was mad. Her baby shower was set for September. At the time, husband and I were living paycheck to paycheck. Brazy, how you doing, buddy? Doing some am I the a-hole reactions over here. Hold on, let me finish reading this one and then I'll chit chat. Paycheck to paycheck. Thankfully, my parents were able to send a couple dollars here and there, so we were able to have groceries. We had both just started new jobs and things were tight. Here is where things get worse. Sister had planned her baby shower for September. We were not told a definite date on the shower until 2 weeks before. Our job requires a minimum of 3 weeks notice to have times off. To have time off. I promise I speak English. Our schedule for that weekend had already been released, and due to the company call-out policy, we would have lost our jobs. We wanted to go so bad, but we would have lost our jobs and potentially been homeless. We tried explaining to her and his dad our situation, but they said that didn't really matter. I don't know where I read the word really, but okay. Especially since they offered to fly us down there. Here is how I may be the a-hole. 3 months into our marriage, I found out I was pregnant. Hubby is an amazing man and stepped up to a higher position that allows me to be a stay-at-home mom. Found out baby is a girl, and we called to share the news with family. In his call with his sister, she had blamed me for him not being at the shower and didn't care about our life updates because we didn't go to her baby shower. When he tried to explain that we would have lost our jobs, she said she didn't care and that we would have just done it anyways. She has raked my name through the mud since her brother and I first started dating. I want to block her, but hubby says that is too far. Am I the a-hole? Really? All right, so first of all, why didn't you block her already? Why is your husband saying that that would be too far considering what she's saying, what she's doing, the way she's behaving towards his wife, and the unreasonable request of this child asking you and your husband to almost lose your jobs to go and see a baby shower? Like, who the hell cares? Like, who the hell cares? Send me a video, send me pictures. I'm not losing my job to accommodate your baby shower. This is mental. Like, she's so spoiled. She's obviously so first she calls you basically a gold digger, which makes me think that she comes from a wealthy family. But then your husband, rather than use that wealth of any sort or something, he starts from fresh. I'm assuming here, all right? Because there is no information here, but I'm just trying to read between the lines. She's spoiled. She's spoiled as all hell. Yeah, just I mean, before blocking her, talk to your husband about it, and try to see if you can communicate with her. I always recommend for people to actually start communicating with them first. Like no matter what the feud is, no matter what the fight is, try to talk to them. Be the bigger person if you prefer, at least once. But my guessing is your patience running out, and understandably so. So, yeah, just talk to your husband. See if you can talk to her one more time to try to understand what the hell is happening with her. And if that doesn't work, just block her and tell your husband you don't care. Because honestly, like, yeah, he want to stay in relations with his sister. Let him. Obviously, it's his family. Who cares? You're not forced to do that. You should not be forced to do that. So yeah, no. Verdict is absolutely 100% not the a-hole, and good luck with that brat. Peace. All right.